ready?
됐어요.
김치. 김치.
One, two, three. 어머니 김치.
Hey folks, we're just starting our journey to Korea right now. It is 4:07 a.m. and we just ate breakfast and got our stuff ready, and we're gonna head out. The dog girl that's taking care of the house is gonna bring us to the airport, and we'll hope to talk to you guys soon. See ya.
안녕하세요. This is Kyle and Travis, and we have a very special guest which we're really excited about. She is a CAD. Her name is Lily. She's been in Minnesota for a long time, but currently she lives in Texas right now. And she came all the way up here because, one, she wanted to meet us, and two, we're going to go to a cool CAD event tomorrow with Adoptee Hub. But anyway, as some of you know, our most popular video on KoreanAdopteeStories is our return to Korea, which we did in 2018 at the PyeongChang Olympics. And a lot of people were kind of complaining because it has my brother's music on there and they don't know what the heck was going on. So, hey, Lily was going to come up here. She knows Korean, so we thought it'd be great for her to react to it and ask us a few questions. So, I guess we can get started. Is there anything that any of you want to talk before we start?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, just introduce Milford too. He's with us enjoying
This
this.
is Wilf.
Yeah.
He's a really cute bunny that we love so much, and he's the dad.
Yep.
Oh, the reason why we're so snazzed up is these are actually the coats that we wore when we actually met our birth family, which you'll probably see in the reaction video. So let's get started.
Okay, ready?
됐어요.
김치.
김치.
김치. One, two, three. 어머니 김치.
So basically, this was actually when we reunited with our birth family. Our parents didn't go; they stayed in Seoul. We went to Jeonju, and this is actually the second time where we met our birth mom, who lives with our half sister named Hyun-soon, who's a nurse, and she takes care of her mom. So this is us taking a picture, and the one on hopefully it's either your right or your left. He's our actual nephew. Our youngest half sister has 3 kids, and of course they were in there with us. And the woman that's holding, the white girl that's holding our nephew, is actually our biological of our adoptive parents' daughter, and she's 2 years younger than us.
김치.
Okay.
And now we're in Jeonju. Welcome to Jeonju. It's our hometown.
So, both of your adoptive parents and your adoptive sibling, your sister of 2 years younger, who is the biological daughter of your adoptive parents, they
Yep.
all accompanied you on this trip.
They did. That's what's amazing about this experience is I know there's a lot of adoptees that kind of want to share this wonderful experience with their adoptive family, and it's unfortunate that there's adoptive families that whatever issues they're going through, they don't really want to meet them, whether they feel like they're being abandoned or rejected. But our family, I guess I'll describe our family structure, our adoptive family structure. So we have 2 adoptive parents. Their names are Jim and Donna. They're in their 70s at this moment, and they divorced in 2004, unfortunately, but we're still close. So what we did is my brother wanted to go to see the Olympics, so we thought we'd kill 2 birds with one stone and say, hey, why don't we just meet our birth family? It's like kind of like a quick moment thinking. So we ended up getting the tickets, and we didn't even know if they wanted to meet us, but we kept on talking to them, on Kako Talk or something, Travis? Or was it
so basically, we knew we wanted to go to the Olympics, okay? But we weren't sure on how they would react if we visited them. So we booked some tickets in Seoul for the week, and then on the weekend, Friday through Sunday, we booked it in Jeonju. We took a bullet train down there, probably took maybe 3 hours tops, and we actually met them in, which we probably get to the video, we actually met them in the hotel that we stayed at.
So this was the first time that you met them. However, you were technically in reunion, like you had found each other, what was it, 10 years prior?
That's a good thing. You described that, Travis.
Yeah, so basically, I knew we were through Children's Home, and I was interested in trying to find our roots and finding our birth family, which is pretty amazing because maybe I know it was kind of a chunk of change. It was like $500 to write a letter, which hopefully it would send to Korea, but
Wait,
maybe
what do you mean $500?
it cost $500 to do the search, because what we did was write a letter, and they send that to Korea. They have to translate it, and it all came with.
So Holt charged you $500?
Not
Children's Home
Home
Society.
Yeah, it was
They charged you $500 to do a birth search?
Yep.
Oh wow! I did
And
not
you
know
did that, and they did the translations, and then with that cost, we had to redo a gene test once we were united with them because we did it wrong because we just cut our hair, but they need the root, so unfortunately we had to pay money for that too. So I don't.
Oh, so
how much
they did
was
an
it?
actual DNA test
they
to
did.
confirm.
Yep.
So there's no questioning.
So I think we'll just get started. Is there anything else you want to add to it?
Are you getting emotional?
No, it's just I didn't want to show myself yawning, so that's what I'm doing.
You guys are. You'll see if we're gonna cry today.
Okay.
If not,
I was
she
like,
will.
well, yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Can edit
this
that
is
out.
Jeonju. I just want to let you guys know that this is a very beautiful area. They have a folk village, and for people that have visited, it is considered a tourist area, but they are famous for the bibimbop. I didn't know if you knew that. Or bibimbop.
Bibimbop.
Which is
Rice with a whole bunch of.
Jeonju.
rice and seaweed and maybe
Yeah,
carrots.
they are famous for it because they have 30 different ingredients that are just so like healthy and different and unique to that area. Like other places in Korea don't necessarily always have those extravagant ingredients, so that's why that area is famous for bibimbap.
So that's my mom.
How do you like your trip, Dad?
So with my dad, it was a little bit difficult. He's been disabled for a while now, and with his back, he can't really walk. So part of the issue with my dad is since he can't walk, he has to bring his kind of cart. So because of that, I guess we kind of got special treatment from the airlines. They were waiting for us with a wheelchair. But you think that carrying a big thing would be a problem, but it was actually no problem. So now we're actually going to travel with that and actually work really well. And just because my dad's not mobile, he was able to go to Korea, which was just awesome.
To be honest with you, the experience is very, very difficult for people with disabilities, such as, the sidewalks aren't totally great, but
They're not
he
made for
was,
wheelchairs.
and the thing is that we had to actually get a specialized vehicle, SUV, that would actually be able to pick up the cart, and luckily we did find someone that, most of the taxis are cars, not SUVs, so we're lucky we were able to find one.
Hello, my name is Chianho, aka Kyle Robert Baylitz, and this is Travis Baylitz, and his Korean name is Manho Park. We're here in a Yonghwan Hotel in Jeonju to visit our birth family.
I just wanted to stop there. We were big back then, but we lost a lot of weight now, so I just want to
You're
mention
probably
it.
like, who are
Yeah.
these people?
Yep.
Is that some
That's
friends
us.
of yours? Or yeah.
So my brother
Good
lost what?
clarification.
55.
55 pounds, and I probably lost 30 some. So we're a little bit different right now. And this was 3 years ago. So what's going to show up next is actually a quilt that my whole adoptive family made that we all spent here. They put all the fabric together. They chose some really nice red fabric, and we all did, and we all put it together. And this was a gift for our birth mom.
There's piano fabric in the foreground.
That's beautiful. What did they say about it?
She really loved it, actually. Well, I think we showed it that we give it to her. I think.
Before you let it go.
I took a picture last Sunday with Bonnie.
I don't know if it
but
was. I'm gonna back up just to show how big it is.
it-
So that was actually outside the airport.
And that's why we made the song called Golden Gate, because that was our hometown after we got from the train, and it kind of reminded me of a gate, which was a song my brother composed, and that's kind of why we did that song. Although people didn't find it that appropriate, I thought it was probably well chosen. And this is right here. Is this Seoul or is this Jeonju?
I think this is Jeonju, man.
Today it's the 14th. I think it's Valentine's Day
No, because it's Seoul with the towers, correct, Lily? So that's Seoul.
in America.
So, what did you guys feel like when you first landed in Korea? What were some of your first impressions, and what's your memory of how you felt? And
I think the experience was just maybe a sense of, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe it was like a sense of wholeness or
Well,
peace. because-
Originally, for me, it was more excitement. I was excited to do these great things with my family, get out of the house, spend a good time with them, and meet my birth family. So it was anticipation and excitement for me. So right now, what we'll show next is actually the reunion here in Jeonju.
By the way, that is our stepdad, not our actual dad, and that is our mom. I believe right now she's 72, and he might be 77 or 76, I believe.
Should we
At least
describe
he's-
our birth story a little bit about what happened between our
The thing-
mom and So basically, the story is our birth mom right there. Her name is, I think, Namju Cho. Basically, she had 3 kids with that man right there, which is, I guess we call him our stepdad. So she had mental health issues because primarily she got hit by a train, or was it a bus? I think it was
I think it was like a tram.
I
or
think it was a
whatever.
train that kind of hit her, and because of that, she became really disabled. And because of that, she was not a good mother to our half sisters who are older than us.
In
like
fact,
some
it
10
was the
years.
grandmother that was actually taking care of the kid mostly.
So I remember there's stories that they actually starved, and that's kind of shows how difficult family life they had. So
How much older are the sisters than you guys?
Like 10 years older, the youngest.
the
So
youngest
you
one is 10
imagine
years
that.
older.
Okay.
So like
List all the
I want-
sisters, Travis.
the youngest is Eunjung, which she's the one with 3 kids.
She might be 40, I think.
She's the youngest.
44.
Possibly 44. I'm not sure of the age. I'll have to reconfirm that. And then there's the middle sister, Hyunsoon. She's the one that actually talks to us more. She's a nurse.
She's a nurse.
And
How old is she?
I don't know. I don't want
Not
to
50
want to
yet.
judge because I'm not sure. So
In their late 40s, I'd say.
I know it's possibly the oldest was this Un Shield might
Already
be 50
now.
already.
Mhm.
So, and sadly, the middle and the oldest are not married. They don't have any kids. They're probably still single, at least what I know. I know the oldest one has visited the USA sometime before when we were there. Let's get back to the mom. So basically, I think she had the affair. She went to Seoul, met this guy. He's from Nonsan, which is the province above us, some city above Jeonju. And they went to Seoul together. They had a casual, intimate relationship, and she unfortunately got pregnant, or fortunately got pregnant. And then she had us, and since there was already 3 children in the family, it was very hard to raise us. Though our aunt and uncle considered raising us, but they also were in tight
Raising their own
conditions
kids.
because they had their own kids. She was actually instituted for 12 years in some institution. I'm not exactly sure.
Your birth mom.
Yeah, so she
was
was
this
away.
after she had you?
This was
Yeah.
before, or was it before, Trev?
I want to say it was,
Or maybe
probably during maybe.
Yeah.
And then basically the good news of all this is that I believe, even though that there might be judgment when it came to our younger sisters about her mom, I do truly think that they are trying to move on. And I know, sadly, that man right there end up having a stroke at this very, not this moment, but in the same case or the same time frame that we actually
For
visited
some
him.
reason, I remember when our sisters were talking about us. For some reason, I think during the translation, because when they had us, and the family of the stepdad, I believe, told them to divorce. But I really respect that man, because for some whatever reason, he just wanted to stick by her side, even though everyone told him to divorce. He said no. The thing is, he was away a lot, so he couldn't really have that like close bond, unfortunately. So he was making money
He
outside
worked
where-
in the Middle East.
I think in
and I think
Afghanistan.
that also added to stress when it came to the mom. Maybe she got lonely and she couldn't take care of her kids, or felt like maybe it was just very difficult. So she kind of escaped the situation and went up to
I
Seoul.
wanted to mention too, for us not being his kids and him wanting to actually meet us, that just shows like
There
boy,
is some
there
care.
really is I don't know what you could call respect, just understanding, because he could have just said no, I don't want to be there, they ain't my kids. But
The fact
he
that he
was
was able
there.
to recognize us is like,
I have huge respect for him.
I noticed that in one of his behaviors coming up. I think it's right after this. He was like, "I'm here too. I'm Appa here. Let's go." So right here, watch. She's saying, "Amma, hi," and he's like, "Me too, me too." That's what he's saying. Yeah, like he was taking ownership. Like you said, this is such a profound, unique interaction, and for him to, you said, own up and want to be a part of it, just from that.
This is why we needed Lily here, because it's kind of situations like these we didn't really know what was going on.
So by the way, this woman right there in front, she's our middle sister. She's the one that we talk most to. She's the one that seems to actually show more interest.
So basically, the other two people, our other youngest sister and the oldest sister, were a little afraid of meeting us. That's what I got.
Well, at least the oldest one. But another story is that, you know, this was probably before. I'm pretty sure you heard of not Chinese New Year's, but Lunar New Year. So the event right before, they're probably still working, and the event later where we do meet them, it is during. There's maybe a 3-day holiday, maybe.
Yeah.
So they're from
Suwon.
Yes, they're from Suwon, and they came down very late this day, and they actually met us
the day after this, which we don't have recordings of that. But anyway, that's Hyun Soon, and those two people in the back, the younger girl's our cousin, and the other ones are aunt, believe aunt.
And then that's your adoptive mother standing.
Yep,
in the back,
that's our adoptive mother,
just
Donna.
Making sure. I'm like, is there another person?
Oh, it looks like there's another guy behind her. I don't know. That must be your husband.
Oh, by the way, this is our aunt and uncle. So the uncle is our mom's brother, and that is his wife. And they originally wanted to take care of us, but they were also complicated.
Was it those two or the one with the other glasses? Oh, I think it's the one with the glasses.
Well, so is
That's
that
another
aunt and
aunt.
uncle?
They're our aunt and uncle, but hold on, we got more footage of it, so we can probably confirm that.
I wanted to ask something too, and you guys can cut this out if you're not comfortable
No, go
answering.
ahead.
But, and you kind of alluded to it, but I just want to, for the record, you know, you'd said that your mom had cheated on the stepdad, but how did they know, especially back then? And then you kind of mentioned he was out of town a lot, so maybe that's like one possibility. And then I was also curious if you guys know anything about your birth father, and if either in your birth father or in your birth mother's family history, is there a history of twins?
Not that I know of. I do know that our mom did casually, maybe, she did infer that he's from Nonsan, but she didn't want to discuss anything else. I don't know if she knew anything else, to be honest.
It could be a language barrier, and it could be, like when I tell people our mom's kind of out of it, I don't want to describe her as that, but I think because of her disability, she's not thinking as clearly and communicated. So that's why we mainly talk to Hyun Soon and our other sisters. So it's kind of getting indirect information from who, what else. I don't know if she really knows, or they're really holding back. And the thing with our half sisters, I don't know if they're comfortable pursuing it, because deep down, maybe we remind them of a shameful past. Their mom did cheat, and again, because of that, I don't know if they are willing to want to pursue it. And I felt like because we've met our family, it sounds like they wanted us to be kind of content with that. Would it be nice if we could find our father? Yeah, I guess so. But the fact that we met our mother and met our half sisters, I feel like a lot of that kind of solved a lot of the
And by the way,
missing part
we
of the
did not
puzzle.
go on Korean TV. We did do 23andMe, but I don't think we found any history about our dad. He probably didn't do a gene test. It was in the system at all, so we don't know anything about that. And our mom was very unclear about what happened, and she doesn't even know his name. She just knows that he's from Nonsan.
So originally when we found out who our mom was, we were actually still questioning, because we didn't think that we looked very much like her. So
Well, that's the thing. Did they talk about anything about the level of creativity in that side of the family? I'm just wondering
Probably
if you
not.
got it. Like, are there a bunch of piano players?
Oh
and
yeah,
artists in
it's
there,
worth to
or-
mention, because our oldest nephew, which is our youngest Eunjung's kid, she always sends us videos of him playing piano. And he's right now is already 15, which is probably 14 in Korean age, but he's very tall. Very
Before that,
opposite.
though, is anybody else in the family like an artist or a musician?
Not that I'm
Do you guys
aware
know?
of. 'Cause
I would-
'Cause I'm wondering if you got it from.
I
your
know
dad's side.
the youngest and the oldest are somewhat in the school system of education, but I don't know too much else about it. They didn't really discuss creativity. Maybe it was just maybe it's just something that's unique to us.
We'll actually
Yeah,
describe
'cause you
that
guys
soon
are
in
like
the letter
oozing
too.
creativity out of like every single orifice.
Pretty much
Maybe we got it from her mom too before she became.
disabled.
Oh, I remember that now, because when reading all the information when they translated us, they said that they used to be interested in art. At least I feel like the oldest one was.
It's possible.
They kind of actually emphasize that, so that's kind of a very interesting point. We might have got our creative genes quite from at least this family in a way.
And if you're wondering, she does not treat COVID patients. I clarified that. and I just know she's some type of nurse.
They're all vaccinated.
I don't know if it's an...
Where did that come from?
Oh, because she's a nurse. I thought she might have worked on COVID patients.
Oh.
But she told me specifically she
Yeah,
doesn't.
that's why we reached out.
I don't
We
even
were
think
kinda
she's an
worried.
emergency nurse. She just is some type of nurse that I'm not...
But she does work a crap load of hours.
10 hours. It's really
Oh, I
switch
see
shift.
what you mean, because like nurses are at the front line because
Yup.
of COVID these days. And,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
but
health nurse.
she told me
got
that
it.
she's not.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, our uncle is the first guy that came in, so
Yeah.
I guess he wanted to confirm, just gauge the situation.
Yeah. So they keep calling him Wei Samchon.
What does that
so,
mean?
So Samchon means uncle, and
Oh,
then when
okay.
you say Wei before it, that means it's on your mom's side.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
so it is her brother.
Yeah.
We can confirm
So
that.
if
So
it was
that's our
on the
mom's
yeah,
brother.
Yeah,
Oh.
they keep calling him Wei Samchon.
Okay, cool, interesting.
삼촌 uncle 이모 큰 이모
She's Kun Imo, and that's her older sister. So that's your
So
aunt.
they're brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That
okay.
looks like that's your, unless they're just calling her that, which sometimes it gets sticky in situations like this when the technicality of the relationship is like truly the premise and important. But she's showing up as that though, Kun Imo, which means it's your mom's sister but older because they're saying Kun. If she was younger, they would say Chagan Imo.
So those two people are brothers and sisters.
No, that's what we're assuming.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Or is that Wei Samchon's wife?
I don't think it is, because I think his wife was the one with glasses, which I'll show
Okay.
next. What's coming?
older sister mom's and daughter of 이모
So that's your Sachon then.
That's
That's
our
your
cousin.
cousin. Yeah.
Which is our cousin.
cousin you guys are cousins
Wow, that looks so good.
Oh man,
Do you guys remember that?
Our sister,
That was
our
amazing,
sister was
man.
up all night preparing this food, and I don't know if you can see what it is, but maybe can you
Lily,
name
probably.
some of the
I don't
food in
know.
there,
Yeah.
or not really?
Yeah, it looks like there's, well, starting from the bottom right, it looks like there's japchae.
Okay.
Maybe on the very top right, that looks like maybe 멸치볶음. Below the japchae, that looks like mook to me, which is kind of like a dubu or a tofu consistency, but it's made out of mook. I think it's acorn. And then it looks like kimchi. And then to the left looks like another kimchi. And then that big circle plate that looks like galbijim to me. Yeah, it looks like beef and potatoes, right? Maybe a sauce on it. Or maybe it's moo. I can't really tell.
So just letting you guys know, this is like we mentioned before, this is actually our first introduction to meeting where our sisters grew up. This is the actual home where our elder sisters grew up in, and our middle sister, our oldest middle sister, lives here and takes care of her mom. She happened to invite our older sister, Unshil, and our youngest sister, Unjung, and her 3 kids, plus the translator, our aunt and uncle, our sisters, brothers, wife, and him, I believe.
So did you guys stay there? Were you in the house when she
We
was
did
doing all
not
the cooking?
stay overnight,
Night.
but we did eat there, I guess.
Like, I'm just curious how you knew she stayed up all night working.
She
working.
told
us.
us.
I remember the
She
translator
told
told
us.
us. So it just shows, wow,
The care.
what an amazing woman or
Right.
woman.
You can honestly tell she's probably a good cook then.
Right.
Just by all the food.
Well, I was just gonna mention, that's something
maybe
about
you can
Korean
see that
culture.
better.
I never experienced that in American culture, like anybody cooking throughout the night, and I've experienced that many times, now. But to your guys' point, like, wow, that just kind of a call out of cultural differences.
This pretty much shows the care of our reunion, that they care too.
Right,
Because
right.
they prepared all this. They stayed up late, especially the middle sister, and they prepared this wonderful feast to, present us the celebration of the reunion. So I feel
Yeah.
like they really care. It kind of sucks that we're not always engaged with them on cacao or anything like that, but the live that we spent there, it was very well worth it because they did show a lot of care. They did give us gifts at the end, and they gave us so much food. There's no way we had to either toss it or eat it all before we went home because we couldn't take any perishable goods.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucked, but just look at all the food. You can see there's definitely a lot of care involved.
This is why we actually ended up going during the Olympics. We didn't know if they would accept us. But obviously when we went to their house, I mean, when they actually came previously, the stuff that you saw before, but actually us visiting their house, it went pretty well. But that's why we end up having a backup plan just in case if for whatever reason it didn't go right. But for the most part, it went very well.
Well, and I want to make a comment about the food too. In my opinion, this is like celebration food. This is the spread that, you know, they do for like Seolnal or Chuseok, or, you know, somebody's
this also is celebrating
Chuseok.
no Lunar New Year's. I don't. What is that?
Seolnal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's also celebrate because it was in
They were
February.
off at this time, so it was February
okay.
when we went to visit them.
Perfect timing then.
Yeah, it is.
was.
So
Because
the
it was for
Olympics,
Seolnal,
Seolnal, and
So Koreans are very hardworking, and because we actually went during this time, they wouldn't have probably been able to visit us because they would be working.
so it's
but-
perfect
Yeah, it's
timing.
perfect timing.
Not only did we have a great reunion with them, but our adoptive family came and things were good, tight knit with them. On the outside, it looked pretty good. But I just want you guys to know this is a very specific time period where they were all able to take off and visit us, which is really great and fortunate. And we're very lucky in this type of situation. This is something that rarely happens. I remember, you know, she's actually been to a reunion trip and she's talked to many other people, but maybe a very slim amount actually get to visit their birth family. So we're very lucky. And fortunately, they treated us with respect. And they seem to own up to the fact that we're actually their younger siblings.
You haven't gotten this right.
저거야, 누나. 양념된 거고 요거는 그냥
The rice.
Look at the rice. Eat it.
I stopped naming the food. Was there any other food you wanted me to name, by the way?
What's that stuff that like one on the left? What is that?
Which one? The circle plate?
Yeah, like big, all that big. Do you know
It
what
looks
that
like
is?
meat.
It looks like it's galbijim.
Oh,
Jim to me.
galbi, so
Which is
it's
beef.
It's beef.
Yeah, so beef short ribs and maybe potatoes and manol. You mix it up with kanjang and.
Oh, by the way,
sojang.
this is our oldest sister in the middle, which I don't think we share. And the lady on the right is our. We had two translators. She was the one that we met. Was what was her name? Mongre Che, and that was her friend. She's from Jeju, so she decided to come along and be our translator. For us all.
Mungyere Che, ironically, was my Facebook friend. I don't know if anymore, but she was, and for some reason, I don't know why, but she saw my post, we're looking for a translator, and then she wanted to do our translation with us, and she hired this lady. They both came along with our trip and did at least some of the translation.
It was a gift because they
Yep.
didn't ask for payment at all.
But we did give them money in the end. But I wanted to mention that the oldest sister was the one that we actually originally talked to first during the letters.
Yes, she's the one that wrote the letter. I don't know. I get kind of not negative energy, but maybe a more less engaged energy from her. So I'm not sure if there's some. It's just her age, or she just feels less interested, or maybe that she experienced more of the brunt work when it came to being raised by a very difficult childhood where her mother was more aloof. I don't know if
To
that
put
was it.
that
but
in perspective, I think there's a lot of adoptees, which was mentioned in one of the other interviews, that I think a lot of Koreans in Korea kind of imagine when adoptees are adopted off, they're like celebrities, like they're given like everything, like food, shelter, like the whole 9 yards, which obviously isn't true because we have our issues too, but I'm kind of wondering if there could have been a little bit of jealousy off that. But even then, right now at the moment, she's talking to us, so whatever was, something opened her up, and it could be our nephew playing piano, because she said, oh, my nephew plays
she
piano.
said, which is actually
one
right
right
there is
there
our youngest
on the
sister,
right.
but you can't see her face. We'll probably show it later.
You know, that's so interesting though, and I hear you guys kind of hypothetically what ifing and trying to understand just like any, you know, thinking conscious human does about like where could this person be coming from. And it's so interesting as we as adoptees go back and through several different interactions, we try to understand Korean culture. And something that I've learned, for example, with people that I've met, and I can't interpret sometimes or understand completely, but I know that it's not at all what I'm thinking. It's like not even on my radar. And so at least I understand that I don't understand. And I just want to offer that a different perspective, you know? Like, so for example, your sister, we don't know, she seems more aloof or something. Like that seriously could be how she's, for her intention, could be loving and respectful towards you guys, and that's how she's showing it, and that's how she thinks she's showing it. But because of cultural differences and
that's
you know,
actually a really
also
good point.
timing,
That's
you don't
actually
know
a
that.
really good point, because culturally, I meant when we interviewed another person named Jamie Hansen, the Korean culture is more Buddhist versus the American, where we're all loving, all embracing. The Korean's a bit more
they're very Confucius,
cold, and I don't know if they're physical, although they did
Hierarchy
notice.
related in several ways. I mean, it's laden throughout the language, that inherently how you speak to each and every person.
I think the irony is the fact that our oldest sisters are women, so ironically they kept them, but they got rid of us, which were males, but probably because we're legitimate. That maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. I just feel like, I guess it's pretty fortunate that the parents kept all 3 children and that we're all female. So I think that's probably something good. Another thing that maybe the parents ended up thinking, well, I know that there's patriarchy in our system, but I still feel like women are important. And I still feel that maybe he does have some sense of loving both sexes, basically.
The
or not
stepdad.
Or not dominating the sex of the male patriarchy.
So over here.
Oh, by the way, the one on the right is our youngest sister, Eunjung. She has 3 kids.
She's all the one with the kids.
The middle one is our oldest sister
She's the
again, and the
family
one
mom.
on the left, which is the nurse, is our half sister. Our middle oldest sister that we talk most to, her name is
Hyun-sun.
Hyun-sun, and the middle one's Eun-shil.
Let's give that to him.
And they grew up in a
So is that a letter that she wrote
No,
to
it's
you?
her
So
mom.
this
I was
letter
wondering.
Our
is
mom
actually
wrote.
the one our mom that was translated in Korean, so she translating it to English to us,
Right.
'cause we didn't know what the heck our mom actually wrote. This is actually a surprise. This is actually a really heartfelt letter. I actually was kind of emotional, even like the second time re-listening to it. But
Do you have the letter, by the way?
it's the letter's actually given to our birth mom, so no. But
Because she was reading it in English. I don't understand.
Our-
Our
Korean
adoptive
to
mom
our-
wrote this letter. It was translated to
Donna.
Korean, and it was given to our oldest sister,
So what-
Eun-shil.
okay.
So this lady is translating the letter that was
was
given
written
to
in Korean.
Eun-shil, our oldest sister.
and we didn't even know about this. I didn't even know about this, so it's kind of new listening to it.
Oh.
I think our mom pretty much described us to a T.
environment and home, and they grew there well, very well. I can tell you. I wanna tell you, and also they are still receiving the very much love within the family, and my children and my husband and my the relatives and as well as me, and whole family loves your boys. And they are very creative and very intelligent, and they have so much talent.
So is your adoptive mom sitting there while she was reading
No.
it?
Nah,
She wasn't-
So let's
she wasn't present.
describe that, Travis.
So, our mom told us the story that the only reason why her sister was there, because our adoptive mom thought that if we went there, we would want to stay there.
But we want to describe a little bit earlier. So our adoptive parents did not decide to go to this trip. It was a little bit too far. My dad was having quite a bit of back pain, and because of that, I think our adoptive parents, I think they just wanted to give that respect and space for us to be with them. That's what I feel like, out
But
of
your
respect.
sister went, though?
But our sister went.
Like I said,
Mainly because she went, though, because we're just horrible at directions. So
No, that wasn't the reason. The reason was because mom said that she was afraid that we'd never want to go back to America. So that's what she said.
Which obviously isn't true, because I don't know if I'd want to live in Korea, because
That's
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Travis and I are very different. We tend to just kind of live in a bubble. I don't think we'd ever want to live there. I would like to maybe visit there, maybe sometime live there temporarily, but I don't see myself living in Korea, at least away from my family, at least now. But you never know. It may happen in the future when our dad passes, our adoptive dad passes, but with our family, yes, we're very close to our family. Sometimes it can be a little bit unhealthy, I feel like. I mean, even between my brother and I, we kind of had that kind of very close relationship. So I guess I didn't see it as a negative light. I just thought, oh, this is great. I could share this experience with my sister too, who I consider my sister, even though we're not biologically related. That's Melissa right there. I would have been actually okay if our parents actually showed up, to be honest, but because
it was actually a good thing she showed up, because like Kyle said, we were horrible with directions. I don't think we'd be able to figure out the subway. For her, it looked really common sense, but for me, I was actually pretty confused by it, because I'm really terrible with buildings and directions, so we almost got a little lost by ourselves, but we ended up finding where we were supposed to be one night, because we went off and did that sightseeing in Seoul, and I think it was fortunate that she came, because she was the one that kind of ran the system when it came to where we supposed to go.
I would have been totally okay if my parents went, but I think they just wanted us to spend some quality time with our family too, which I guess either or, it doesn't really matter to me. So
How about you? How did that make you feel? Or thinking about it even like right now, that your adopted parents wanted to give you that space?
I personally would have felt better if they came anyway, because everyone should just get together and celebrate. That's just my opinion, but
they already
the space is very cramped.
Keep in mind that our mom and dad were there at the previous video too, so in a way they already did kind of.
And
meet,
like I said, this
so.
space is very cramped, and Dad cannot sit there for a long period of time without maybe
that's
having
very
back
true.
pain.
Like on this, like crisscross
they're laying
elbows.
down.
But it's actually really true. My dad was having a lot of back pain. I mean, we were moving around a lot, like at the Olympics and stuff. It's far away.
So maybe that's another reason why our adopted mom stayed back, because it might have been felt Dad was neglected and left out. So.
Oh yeah, because that's another good point. Because since our dad can't walk, he needed someone to be there to like go to McDonald's or something too. So in a way, because Dad had to stay, Mom felt kind of obligated too. So whether the story's true, I feel like it was more of the situation. Yeah, I actually would have been okay, like really cool if they actually would have came, but because my dad stayed in Seoul, someone kind of had to watch him, unfortunately, which is okay too. And the fact that they still met him in Jeonju, I was still really happy about that too. So.
And they play piano very well, and then they are artists, and they graduated their colleges, and they love the animals. And
I don't know why she's reading it to you guys though. Did she read it in Korean to the other people?
I think they already read it in the Korean
it's
language.
in Korean already,
But we wanted
so I
to know
assume
what
they know what
our
it said.
adoptive mom wrote, so we had the translator talk about it.
That's fair.
and they're full of life.
Yeah.
And of course, we have a difficult times, so we are separated. And that was a very hard and sad times. But the good news is that my husband and I have still keeping a good relationship, and we spend the holidays together with all my children.
Is that true? You guys spend all your holidays together?
We do. That's very.
It's kind of ironic. I mean, you can look at my face. I'm maybe absorbing it all, but she's really crying in this.
Yeah,
and I find that really ironic.
Translator.
That she's
a translator.
That's why she's
crying.
sniffling.
That's why
Oh, really?
she's sniffling.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she's getting more into it than I did, but
I thought it was a really good letter.
maybe she was just really touched by it.
It's beautiful.
And I and Melissa and everybody is a very supportive of the visiting the Travis and Kaya's.
I want to mention that like 110%, 1,000% why this trip was so memorable and so great, like amazing to me, really. It's the fact that it's not just visiting our birth family, that's cool too, but the fact that we could share that experience with our adoptive parents was just incredible. I would say, I feel like I just felt a lot of love. And I know there's adoptive parents that kind of have their insecurity about losing their adoptive kids, but I had a therapist that actually say that kind of the adoptive parents kind of have to go through the kind of the abandonment experience that sometimes adoptees feel. But anyway, I will always owe my mom and dad, whether they're divorced or not, gratitude and my sister for coming along with this trip, because I'm sure they could have said, like, I don't want to support you, but they are not like that at all. They're 110% support of this trip. And that's just amazing that, like, I think more adoptive parents should try to live up to that. And unfortunately, not all of them do, but because we had that amazing experience, I'm just grateful. Like, when my adoptive parents die, I'm going to remember this for a lifetime of the love and consideration they had for us as their adoptees, that they gave us the chance to, and the opportunity to visit our birth family and go along with us to show us the support. I don't know if you have anything else to say about that, Travis.
Love can be as strong as blood, so...
Blood doesn't always equal love. You can still love someone even if you're not related. I think that's what he means.
Yep.
Mother country. And I want to give you this present with all my heart. And this pendant represents the biological parents and
Are you familiar with those adoption rings at all, or not all? Because so basically they had like a pen. I don't remember what. I think it's like a heart. Basically, it's a symbol, and that's what my mom gave to our birth mother and half sisters. The pendant that kind of represents the adoption between, I think, birth mothers and adoptive mothers. I think.
Wow, that was nice.
And then children that symbolizes. And I cannot tell. I cannot express my graduation.
I think she meant gratitude.
Gratitude, yeah. As she can see, she's very emotional. She's very touched. That's why she's a good lady, and I'm really grateful for her, even though we don't
really communicate anymore,
but we really are fortunate to have her with this experience. We kind of considered her our family at the time.
And thank you so much, and I am still grateful, and it's beyond my expression.
So these are the gifts that I believe Kyle ended up buying.
Yeah.
I don't know if he got them at Seoul.
Chopsticks, I think.
Pyeong Chang.
We actually got that the Olympics
Oh my goodness.
for chopsticks.
보석함. Thank you. 액세서리.
I mean, to eat or eat, do you know what that is?
I think she's saying it in a Korean, like accent, but the word is accessory.
Oh, accessory.
And she's saying like maybe, you know what I mean? It's actually a chopstick, but it's so pretty. Maybe you should put it
to
like
not
as
use
a,
it, but like to hold up. Oh, I see.
like a decoration or
okay.
something. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're actually right. I don't know what she meant by special rules.
Oh,
I don't understand.
I thought you said it's chopsticks. Those look like little jewelry boxes to put your accessories in.
Oh, so that makes
my
sense.
bad.
I thought you said it was
I thought it was chopsticks, so I was wondering why nothing was in there. I guess we gave him a jewelry box. That's why she's here. My bad, guys.
Edit that out.
여기가 돼지예요.
So this is actually our house.
It's our grandpa's land.
Our grandpa's house.
Our mom's kind of born. Our mom's dad's land that she grew up on.
So what did you guys feel when you saw this place?
Oh man, it looks pretty trash. That's horrible to say, but
at the same time, it was trash, and I felt a little comfort with it, knowing this is where I was born. They still use the land for farming, apparently. It's basically like a pile of junk now, but this is where we're born. This is how we were born, I believe, because I think our mom took care of us here. So when our mom had us, I think the mom ran to her dad's house and I think had us here in the shack. I could be wrong, but maybe the translation might come up soon.
That right here, house, the mom.
I thought these were funny. I really enjoy these two dogs. They remind me of my brother and I.
Whitey?
Yeah.
This is the place you guys were born.
Oh.
There was There's a structure house over here.
이 집을 하나 넣으면 괜찮을 거. 이집 이거
house
하나 이거는 있었으면 이집 하나 더 나가.
Tore it down.
Don't walk on that first.
It's like a remote area.
여기서 이쪽이래요. 안방이. 아니 태어나.
방이 여기가 방에서
Something here.
She's
So I
saying
know.
like there was a room right here.
Oh.
They're just saying like right
So maybe
here.
so this is probably why it looks so trash, because it's been sitting like that forever and just rotting. But maybe at the time it wasn't such in bad condition.
Yeah.
사진 찍어줘.
둘이. 너희가 태어난 곳을 땅을 밟아보고 여기라고 하면 돼.
Tore it down.
Or is it, did they use it for storage? They
For
want
storage,
to use
yeah.
it, yes. When it's late.
So you guys drove here. This isn't where,
We
where
did.
you had just.
Yep.
is
So
kinda
after we
the
had
out-
that dinner, we actually drove to this place after.
So where you had that dinner, was that at an apartment?
That was actually
house.
at
It was
our,
actually
our
a
house.
house.
A
And,
house.
and an interesting thing that you brought that up, that was actually the childhood home that our mom always lived in, or Hyun Soon, which is our second sister, who's the nurse that's taking care of our mom. They've been in that place like forever, and that's how they were able to find them when my brother wrote to Children's Home Society, because they just lived in the same house, and that's how they were able to contact them.
똥은지 알죠? 우디. 약간.
But the land is worth more than what's on it,
그런 나무.
right?
Well, it's producing, so
여기는
it
지금
makes them
양파를
money.
심어놨대요.
She's talking about some stuff that she planted there.
Why do you think that they didn't like sell the land and make buildings on it and make money? Are they trying to preserve what was there, or they didn't think about it, or you don't know?
Yeah, I have no idea where this little part is. Maybe, you know, the opportunity hasn't arose, or maybe it's in an area that isn't being developed yet. A lot of people in Korea have, they call it a bot, like a little field, a space of land that they can walk to and plant some stuff.
I feel like that's
in.
what it is.
Yeah.
Because they
It's
had
like a
like, I don't know,
little piece of-
you don't see it, but they actually had a whole bunch of kimchi jars on top of their house. I don't know if you know a lot of people.
And they had
do
that paste stuff on there.
Yeah, that red paste,
Yeah.
gochujang maybe, I think. They make it or
And they
something.
put it in these barrels and they leave it up on the roof.
Wow, yeah.
It is. Wow, this is pretty amazing.
I guess I find this surprising because I always thought that Korea was all full of buildings. I never expected my family that grew up in a rural area, and seeing it underdeveloped, it kind of really surprised me.
But you guys were in Seoul, though, and you saw all the buildings there and
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
apartments.
which is
Yeah,
way
you know
different.
it's not, yeah.
It's definitely different here.
Use it for storage.
Just put in the front pocket, guys.
So that answers your question for us. They use it for storage. That's why they haven't sold it.
No, this doesn't.
Seen like
Well, and it looks like they're growing things
Yep,
there, and
yep.
so either they, you
They
know,
use it for
eat
farming.
it for themselves, or yeah, maybe even sell some of it, a little bit.
Why dirt?
I thought you told me to grab a dirt.
Nah, you could grab a rock.
Oh, so basically, Kyle wanted us to grab dirt.
We
because
both
we're
did dirt
preserving
and
it.
rocks that we brought home
Do you have
as
some?
souvenirs. I do up there in the other room.
Cool.
Rock in your pocket, too, guys. Oh, you are grab a rock. You are.
Look at, see how pretty it's got.
It is a very pretty beautiful area for some. Even though the land is kind of, rural, it still looks really nice with the mountains in the back.
7, and then I did all this genealogical research. She's like 100% British. She'd always call herself High.
I wanted to mention that lady on the right is actually, I believe, that other uncle's wife. So
with
those
the
two,
mask on?
yeah, those two were the ones that took
Would
care
get
of
a
us
raise.
originally. That's what they said.
But they
What?
couldn't.
Who?
The uncle and his wife, which
the
is
mask?
our aunt. Yep.
So they took care of you for the
Yes.
first 6 months?
Yep, I believe so. Yep.
So what was their reaction then, like meeting you guys? Were they pretty emotional?
Well, actually, that guy was the very first one to come on in the house. I actually thought that was
Our
the stepdad,
stepdad.
but it wasn't. But I got some pretty decent feelings about them. I don't know. I guess it's kind of detached from me, I feel like. But it was amazing because they did take care of us originally.
Yeah.
And I believe they said we were breastfed as well, which is kind of important for a baby's development. So I guess they kind of got us through that first few months, but then they realized it was too much. They had, I think, 3 kids or 2 kids on their own. They couldn't do it, so they had to decide to adopt us off. So from our adoptive papers, none of this was said at all. So this is all new information, actually. So it was kind of interesting.
So how did that make you guys feel, learning that new information and integrating it to the story that you had been living, with up to that point in time?
Well, for one, I feel like we were given the care, which I thought that we weren't, for one thing. And we kind of, I don't know if we developed a bond with them. I don't know if they actually had a lot of time to take care of us. I don't know about that, but I guess I was more surprised. How about you, Travis?
I almost personally feel that even though we were illegitimate children, they kind of treated us as though we were still part of the family. It's really nice to know that they were pretty warm and considerate when it came to visiting us. They actually wanted to take pictures of us with us too. But I just want you guys to know that they seem to be loving and caring. It just financially they were unable to provide since they already had children of their own.
And I'm like, nope, you're pretty much related to the queen. Don't walk on that first.
Is this like a remote here? According to the translator, she states that this is where
This area was the grandfather was farming right here. Yeah.
our mother would come here.
Storage now.
They usually just use it for storage now, but it's just interesting that they just kept it all as it was.
That's a farm still. They just live closer to the city now.
Usually most people don't see the end history till they're older. I'm zooming in on the dog.
Yeah, what did you mean by that statement? Most people don't see their end history until they're older.
That's actually a good question. There's a lot of adoptees that don't know where they actually came from. Yet we had the opportunity to actually see the actual place where we're born. So that was
with your
amazing.
birth family.
Yes, that was amazing to me. I don't know if you know anybody that visited where they actually were born, but this was us, really.
Yeah.
That's what was amazing to me, and I'm really glad we had that opportunity.
Listen, the other dog. Hey, Whitey.
Very young, at 35 years old.
Oh, wow.
Our
grandpa's it and explain it a bit.
Grandmother's father's side.
Isn't it crazy how they do that at the graves in Korea? Like
Isn't
it's
that
a big
illegal
mound
now?
in the earth.
Is that illegal to do it in your private property to bury your loved one?
In America?
No, in
America
Korea.
Oh, in Korea? I don't know.
Probably not.
That's our grandpa.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Your mother's side.
I mean, but I know that there's a lot of burials like that in Korea.
It's probably not illegal.
Is there?
Oh, really? At that age?
If you own the land, you can bury your whoever you want and make a mound there.
You know what she said there?
Go back.
Your mother's side mother died when he was very young.
심장마비인가?
She said heart attack.
Oh, okay.
Really? At that age?
심장마비.
그러니까 엄마도 엄마 할
엄마 정을
많이
모르고.
정을 모르고 컸다고.
Amma didn't know.
15살에 mother grew up
15살이.
kind of
When she was
with her
15.
mother. Yeah.
What was that? 15?
Uh-huh.
What was 15?
I think, is that maybe when her parent died? When she was 15?
Oh, it was our grandma.
Yeah. She said she didn't know much either, and she was 15.
So basically, she grew up without a mother after 15 years old, it sounds like.
Does that coincide with what you had heard, or?
I think
they
that's
had
probably
talked
true.
about?
I think
probably
that's
clarifies
true.
it.
I just
Yeah.
don't remember. They probably did talk about
I
it.
didn't hear like the whole conversation before, but
할아버지 빠이빠이.
So I don't know if we mentioned, this is where our grandpa was buried, I believe.
yeah, when I've gone to Korea and visited graves like that, we bowed 3 times and like poured some soju in a cup, threw it on the mound, and then brought some food and threw some stuff there and left some things.
You just visited random people's sites, or who were these
No,
people?
it was my grandparent-in-laws.
Oh, I see.
So your
Just
grandparents,
random,
brothers
yeah.
and sisters.
Yeah, so like my kid's great-grandma.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean on your husband's side? That totally makes sense.
I just want to note, isn't it just great we got all this footage? The camera ring's horrible.
The camera ring's horrible. I apologize for that because we're really excited trying to do multiple things at once, but I'm really glad we got this footage.
It's really solved a lot of the missing piece of the puzzle.
That pretty much answered it. The whole puzzle piece of where we're from. Obviously, we got to visit where we're actually from and see the land, and that kind of answers it.
외할머니
built you a 3D puzzle.
38에 돌아가셨잖아요. 엄마하고 15살에.
She said the way how many 35살에 돌아가셨어. So 35 she died?
Yep.
From a heart
That's what
attack,
they said. That's
right?
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And then that your Amma was 15 when her mom died at 35.
So did she die from a heart attack or was that her grandpa?
I think it's a grandpa.
Did you hear heart attack in this?
I heard heart attack, but I didn't hear like the whole, you know what I mean, little snippets. Go back.
So it's not clarified whether our grandma had the heart attack or our grandpa.
I think it's our grandpa. He said he died very young, but that was cut off because I didn't record right away.
15살에.
Mother grew up kind of without mother.
Without mother.
Your mother's side, mother.
She died all of a sudden from a heart attack.
So the
Mom, it was our grandma.
Oh.
I don't know, she's 35 or 38.
35.
And the other grandmother, father's side, took care of
할머니가 38에
girls.
엄마 15살.
Your mother's side, mother died when he was very young.
I thought she's saying 38, but
Heart attack.
Oh, really? At that age?
그러니까 엄마 많이
모르고.
정을 모르고 컸다고. 15살에.
Mother grew up kind of without mother. Yeah.
The translator seems sad when she translates that. I don't know why. That's what I got.
삼촌한테 한 거거든.
it's hard to talk about stuff like this, you know, even for the translator. It takes like an emotional toll on her, you know.
빠이빠이.
안녕히 계세요.
안녕히 계세요.
Does that mean thank you? What does 안녕히계세요?
So 안녕히 계세요 means goodbye, like respectfully.
Oh, I see.
But it's
I thought
staying.
안녕하세요 means goodbye.
Well, 안녕하세요 means hello. 안녕히 계세요 means you say it to somebody when you're leaving, but they're staying. And then 안녕히 가세요 means you're saying somebody that's leaving, but you're staying. So it's three of them. 안녕하세요, 안녕히 가세요, and 안녕히 계세요.
It's really solved a lot of the missing piece of the puzzle.
외삼촌,
built a whole,
외할머니
built you a 3D
38에
puzzle.
돌아가셨잖아요. 엄마.
So she's like, hey, uncle, 외할머니, so mom's mom died when she was 38, right? That's what she's saying right now.
15살에 식사비로 돌아가신 거예요? 식사로 돌아가셨다고.
아니, 그게 아니고 그 당시에 애를 낳고 산모 후유증으로 돌아가신 거예요.
아,
다시
산후유증? 산후유증으로 돌아가셨어요.
이모 낳고요.
누구 낳았을 때요?
그 밑에
춘기?
밑에 하나 있어요.
춘기 이모?
춘기 밑에.
걔는 아니
근데 몰라, 너희들은 몰라. 내가
이모의
모르고
삼촌이에요?
He's like the mommy of
딸을
the mom
낳고
side of the family.
또
Like
이모를
the
낳았대.
holder of the
몸이
family
허약해가지고
story.
그때만 어려울 때라 내 생각에는 아마 예양식조 같아.
옛날에 그런 일이 많았죠.
아, 근데 할머니 묘소는 어디 있어요?
지금 저기 임실에도 납골
She's saying, where's 할머니's
Somewhere
cemetery?
else.
Yeah.
Remember that.
임실의 전라북도 요 밑에 있거든요. 임실이 전주 밑에 남원 가기 전 임실의 가족 납골 땅에 할머니 묘소는 거기에 있대요.
They put her there temporarily.
그리고 또 지금 이모 돌아가신 이모?
몰라, 너희들은 몰라.
The aunt that died.
춘기 이모 밑에
막내 이모 밑에 또
춘기 이모
있었나 봐.
밑에
어릴 때 돌아가셨나 봐.
나 중학교 2학년 초등학교 2학년 때 그때 애를 낳고 그래가지고 이제 그때 내 기억은 7월 29일 날 났는데 8월 4일 날 돌아가셨어요.
Grandma is
집에서 한 두세 달 키웠어.
and he also has the place where we keep our ashes. And there is the town that it's a little south from the Jeonju has a family the place that they.
Yeah, have you guys ever seen those like in a Korean drama? Like basically it's like think about walking into a museum maybe. And they have all these glasses and then they have urns and it has people's ashes. And so it's basically another kind of graveyard, but it's more like in a room. Or think of like when you go to a high school and you see like all of their trophies, you know what I mean? Like that glass thing. There's stuff like that set up and then each person will have like their name and kind of like their headstone. 우리 사랑하는 엄마, their name and their picture and a little snippet about them and then their urn with their ashes in it.
Is that really common in Korea then, or?
I think so. Yeah.
So that's basically where our grandma. She's at some sort of cemetery that's in a building, basically. Down south.
나들마다 묵히게 할아버지가 묵히게 생긴 게 그렇게 보냈구나.
전달된 거죠? 네. 우리도 몰랐는데.
She's saying we didn't know that either. Or they could have just found you.
Wait, I can't remember. This is our great grandma, not our great grandparents, right? Or is this their grandparents?
I think it's our mom's dad that they're talking about, and mom. That's what I think.
That's our great grandparents.
Yeah, that's what that's what the impression I'm getting.
어릴 때. 영 어렸을 때.
I don't know what you say.
어렸을 때 means like a long time ago when they're really young. 어렸을 때.
all live in a different areas.
나는 가끔 와봤지.
여기 누나마.
Over here, just only the oldest sister.
And they live far
there.
She was.
어릴 때 여기서 많이 놀았다고.
You guys played here a lot when you were little. Or they did.
Yeah, you and Suwon.
수원.
Both.
인수원.
Both of you guys live in Suwon now.
Yeah, Suwon. It's a dog.
수원.
그리고
Yeah.
그래서 한옥마을에서
Still the same area. Just walking to.
다 있었어요 지금.
한옥마을 쪽에. 여동생이 3명.
I wanted to ask you about the kids there. Is there 2 kids that were there? Three? So did that strike any chord in you guys? You know, as like for example, as adoptees going back to Korea, I was always found myself sensitive when I saw children. It triggered me a little bit. And did you guys experience that at all with the children in this?
I just thought it was cool that we had nephews.
Yeah,
you think that they'd want to be interested in us, but I don't know if they don't speak English, but you think the younger generation might want to say, hey, how are you, uncle? You're cool. They didn't do anything like that. They just paid attention to...
Again, like cultural difference, maybe?
I don't know. What do you think? Why do you think they didn't pay attention to us? Or like want to get to know us? Or
because they're young too, though. Keep in mind with that. They're probably not aware at that age to try to connect with other people. I feel like they're too young.
Could be that too.
I think they were paying attention to you in their own way, but you guys are unfamiliar with
the culture.
Not so much the culture, but you're thinking somebody paying attention to me is going to look this way. And when it didn't, I think they weren't paying attention to me. But I think they were probably paying a lot of attention to you. You just didn't notice.
I feel like they were because they were still in the same room and they were like climbing the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like what kids do.
One brother.
Oh, one brother.
Okay,
those are all 3 of the kids. Which one's the oldest one, Travis?
I don't want to judge it because I don't know.
I think the one right there is the oldest one. The one's the box. And he's the one that plays piano.
Oh, really?
Really well, nicely, yeah.
How old is he now?
15 right
green
now.
age.
여기 화장실 갔어요. 그래서 외삼촌하고 큰이모는 전주 살고.
Uncle and the sister that you met at the hotel, The last time lived here. They live here in Jeonju.
What's she saying to the kid? I'm just curious.
The mom or
Yeah, because what's she saying?
What'd she say?
I don't know. I'm just curious if she's saying anything.
Oh, the
If
mom.
it's important,
Did
yeah.
she say it? Let's listen.
그다음에 여동생이 3명.
3 sisters.
남동생 하나.
So yeah, 3 younger sisters.
The 외삼촌.
other brother, the
yeah.
uncle.
And then 외삼촌's one
wife.
brother's wife.
Yup.
Yeah.
외삼촌 오면은 같이 찍으면 외삼촌. 여기 화장실 갔어. 그래서 외삼촌하고 큰 이모는 전주 살고.
I think she's saying we're waiting for Wei Sao Chuk because he's in the bathroom.
And the sister that you met at the hotel, the last time lived here. They live here in Jeonju.
그리고 여동생 이모 둘은 부천에 산다고.
Two other sisters nearby Seoul.
그러니까 큰 이모 삼촌은 전주, 둘째 이모, 막내 이모는 부천.
So it's youngest sister. Youngest
So I wanted to mention, it feels like that our birth mom is kind of like out of it. She wasn't intentionally like hugging us. It's more like we're kind of being not forced, but kind of like encouraged to hug our
Embrace
mom.
her.
It was actually our aunt, I think, maybe that kind of had us do this. But I found that she was a little bit detached. That was my perspective, Charles. What do you think?
It wasn't like, oh,
Yeah.
sons, I love you.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's so nice to meet you. I didn't get that in there, but what do you think? The whole thing when
Well, like you said, though, it sounds like she had some accident or had
so
some
you
mental
can
issues.
you can sense that or no?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between having all your wits about you and then
Yeah.
reacting that way versus if she's maybe not all there.
She's not purposely like
That's
acting
just her,
cold. It's just
right. It's like her default mode, and it probably is very overwhelming, anyways. But it looks like that's the level of her functionality.
I wanted to mention though, our birth mom, like I said, she got hit by a train, but I wanted to mention though that she actually did remember us when we were born. Was that the half sister? Because originally we thought we were born January 12th, 1987, but they actually reconfirmed it that we were a day off and we were actually born January 11th. Like at 3 o'clock and I think 3:05, but they remember that pretty clearly, and I think our mom did too. Because I remember when I asked that, our mom actually mentioned that no, you guys were born January 11th. So from what I know, she actually remembers that surprisingly. So
and then the
부천의 둘째, 셋째.
second sister under me mother 부천.
We do a family photo with the sisters and
I wanted to mention something about her mom because I remember our oldest sister, like they always didn't get along, but she just sees her as a little child. So I guess that just kind of proves her point of her mentality level, that she's not like totally like able to think clearly. So that is why there's a little bit of a detachment. I feel like so I can understand, and plus there could be a little cultural difference, but at the same time she does have a disability.
yeah,
so.
like she doesn't have all her faculties.
All of them. We'll take a picture. Yeah. All of them. 여기다.
사진 찍고 싶다고. 그치? 괜찮아. 삼촌 어디 갔어?
They're all like we're in our cooking class.
누나들하고. 누나들하고 찍어.
I gotta get in there too.
They're like, get your sister in there too.
이거 혼자만 찍어요.
what did she say? It might have been important. She said something.
I think she said her name and she says that she have to get in the picture too.
See, so she can tell a little bit.
삼촌 어디 갔어?
They're all like we're in our
She was following the conversation.
Oh, okay.
누나들하고.
I gotta get in there too.
이거 혼자만 찍어요. 외삼촌 어디? 외삼촌 사진 좀 찍. 사진 기념으로.
야, 니네 거 찍어. 나 찍어서 찍고 다시 또 나와봐. 혼자 찍었잖아.
여기도 일단 5가지 여기 찍어.
Yeah, see how they it was slightly
Look, oh, they
uncomfortable.
wanted to put your cheeks against her.
웃어야지. 가만있어 봐. 이걸 이렇게 해야지. 여기 봐야지. 엄마. 옳지. 옳지.
자, cheese. 어머니 여기 보세요.
Would you want to say just based on looks, is her mom older than her brother? Or is her brother
I think
older?
she is. Her mom looks way older than the brother.
Did they ever
She
mention
likes-
that or no?
Yeah, and I think because they call him Wei Samchon too, I think that is like he might be younger than her.
Oh, so that's what you think too. Yeah,
She
I
might
was
be the
thinking
oldest
that.
one, Travis.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but like I know on our side, for example, my kids call my husband's kids Kunapa, but their kids call my husband Samchon because it had to do with he wasn't married when she was born, and so that's what she started calling him, and so that's what she's called him her whole life, and so yeah, he does look younger too.
누나들하고.
With the sisters, 누나들하고.
막내 누나도 이렇게 있어야지.
The youngest sister has to get in there too.
What'd she say that Uchiya?
She's like, take it.
Is she impatient?
Yeah.
야, 동생 언제 어깨 좀 언제?
He said I'm in the picture too.
좀 이따 나오시면 음식 해가지고 드셔.
아니 여기 앉아.
음식 해가지고 드세요. 오케이 잘한다. 그렇지.
아니 막 둘째가 안 둘째야 빨리 와. 둘째.
저쪽에서 먼저 찍으면 되겠다.
She's like, everybody has to do it. Why just us?
I think this is a great moment. This is pretty picture perfect in what a professional photo should look like.
I do see a little bit of similarities between our sisters, at least the one near Tress and the one near me. That's what I feel like.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that.
This is a great picture, though. I think. Do we have pictures of this call or no?
cheese. 한 번 더.
Cheese.
오케이. 자, 미 이제 내 튼이야. 자, 이리 보세요. 어머니 보세요.
하나, 둘, 셋.
cheese.
He's just cute too.
어머, cheese.
어머 쳐다봐.
Why they keep saying cheese? Did you guys tell them to say cheese?
Yeah, because they keep taking pictures of us. That's what we're doing.
No, I mean like they're saying cheese. Usually that people don't say that in Korea.
Oh, they don't?
No, they usually say kimchi. I wonder if they were like doing that on purpose.
Probably
for
because
you
we're
guys.
American. Yeah, that's a good point. It might be too soon.
누나들도 앉아.
이렇게 한번 찍어볼까?
So who is videotaping this, or did you just have it?
I just had it on the side, I think, because everyone was like, I think the translator took my camera, but then I had a video camera. That's what we're watching right now.
이게 too closer?
Yeah.
붙으세요. 현수랑 붙어.
There you go.
Yep.
And
붙어요.
Just
just
there.
press.
Yeah, you can just press. I have a display screen.
Turn on this one, right?
This one.
Right there.
너 그냥
Right there.
wait. Okay. 오케이. 더 붙으세요.
더 붙어요.
네.
붙으세요.
하나, 둘, 셋. cheese. 하나, 둘, 셋. cheese. 오케이. 아, 이쁘다. 멋있다.
여기 이제 그죠? 여기 앉으세요.
Did you guys spend any time alone with your biological mother? Just you three?
No, yeah, we didn't.
Probably because I don't know. We spent time with our sisters.
I feel
but
like
not
there's a
her.
sort of discomfort.
It's really hard to.
because we
It's really
can't
hard to
speak
be
English.
intimate with her
Yeah.
because I don't know. She probably recognized us, but I don't know. It was just somewhat distant still.
But I think it's mainly because of her disability. That's what I feel like. If she didn't have a disability, I think she'd be a little bit more warm regardless of the culture. And because of her age too, because like sometimes the older people they act like.
Oh,
baby
by the
children,
way,
too.
it's mentioned. Like I said, her husband, which is our stepdad, ended up having a stroke in that
Middle.
building of the hotel we were at. So this is why
While
he's
you were
not here.
there?
Yes.
Why we're there.
Yep.
So this is why he's not here.
Whoa.
Because he ended up in the.
After that, we ended up going to the hospital to visit him a little bit. We didn't go to see him, but we waited.
I know he's been in that hospital a year
Since
later. I don't know what's going on now.
He's still
but-
there, I think.
Wilford.
To mention that their nephews play, like if my grandparents were back alive right now, like bouncing around the couch with like a giant ball is exactly how these guys would just rip around grandma's house all the time and like crawling over. Like, it's like a flashback to my childhood. These guys flipping over the couches with a ball and then like an exercise machine coming out of the middle of nowhere. Exactly how they used to play at my grandparents' house all the time.
지금 할머니 할아버지 집에 가서 얘네들 지금 저기 조카들이 노는 거 얘네들이 다 똑같이 놀았대.
So Lily's an adoptee, obviously a Korean adoptee. She went to Korea, but she hasn't found her birth family. What's your reaction when you watch this?
Are you jealous, envious, or not
You're
sure?
smiling at you right now, so I was curious.
Well, I mean, I've definitely have experienced those feelings, but I've watched a lot of reunions.
Oh, okay.
And also, I'm just at a different place in my life where I see it, and I find a lot of comfort and happiness for whoever it is. I think it's a really unique and special moment in anybody's life who has, the opportunity to have something like that happen. It's pretty unique.
Do you feel hurt that you feel that you can't find yours, or
No, I don't.
jealousy maybe?
That just shows how mature or
이리 가. 너 여기 앉아. 여기 앉아. 사진이 안 잡혀. 조카들하고 찍어라. 이거 보여줘. 선물 이렇게 봤잖아. 선물 보여주고.
There you go, 15-year-old.
He obviously has your clumsiness.
Yeah, pretty much. Really
Just joking.
괜찮아. 저 이제 할머니 옆에 앉아봐봐.
Go sit in front of your grandma.
우리 모르겠다 사진이나 찍자.
She's like, I don't know, just take the picture.
네 맞아요.
I mean, not really important stuff, but it's so you don't know what they're saying, so it's kind of nice to just.
Look at how she embraces the kid.
And that's it, folks.
That's
So that's all of our footage.
Any
So
last
I
words?
guess the last question is with Lily, because I don't think I have anything else to say.
What are your thoughts, opinions?
Yeah.
Questions to us.
Yeah, one question I have for you guys is being twins. Is it, and you meeting other CADs and learning about their stories and maybe their hardships or challenges that they experienced, do you guys feel, or are you aware, or are you cognizant of the fact that your experience, it's like the half the amount of trauma that like an adoptee went through that didn't have an identical twin? Okay, in other words, when I see you guys, I feel like you are adoptees and have the CAD experience, but because you were together, there's just less trauma that's been like filtrated through you guys' systems, and therefore you have access to less trauma experience.
I don't know,
as
the
an
fact that
adoptee.
we're identical twins and we have the same interests, it actually,
I
really
agree with
strong.
that, because there's a lot of people that go into relationships to feel whole, but because I know, even though relationships are still a struggle with me, I mean, I haven't held a good relationship, solid relationship more than 2 years, but anyway, because of that bond with my brother and I, there's always just, it's the fact that I can always trust him. And the fact that I can always trust him and knowing he's always there, that doesn't really want to motivate us to go elsewhere and find someone else that I know for sure can't establish the same level of trust, the same level of ease with my brother. So yes, I do agree that it's a little bit easier being twins born together. I will want to mention though, there are some challenges. It was actually extremely difficult for me when my brother was having mental health issues and wanting to commit suicide, and a lot of it went on me and trying to the most part, I did not want to kind of be his leg to survive. I did not want to be there. I'd rather be doing something else to an extent. Maybe that's a little bit selfish of me too, but it has its pros and cons. It can be really good. You can trust each other, but it can get a little toxic and you don't develop the independence as one should. I do believe that it probably is still easier that we're together, but it felt really hopeless for me at one point when my brother was in the group home, in the hospital. So a lot of that sadness and pressure and I guess hopelessness also was felt among me, which I don't really wish on anybody else, because it's really, really traumatic and difficult trying to accept someone that they may not be here the next day, and that was really hard for me to.
I just want to mention the
because of his
cognizant
bipolar.
of it is that, you know, codependency is a really big issue for many people in relationships, but I feel like someone has an advantage because whether you're suicidal or not, whether you want to end your life or not, you always have someone to think that, hey, this guy can't live without me. It's going to kill him. It's going to be really selfish if I end up doing something. So because of my closeness with him, I did take a second guess on whether I should commit suicide or not. And things have been really, 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 really rough for me. 7 hospitalizations, 2 partials, a group home for 90 days. And I think there's a lot of trauma in general, just whether you're identical twins or not. But the fact that we were so close, it only made me want to bridge that gap of not wanting to end my life.
What I wanted to ask you, do you think any of that bipolar or relationship issues can be kind of pinpointed at your adoption, or you totally think your bipolar is something totally separate?
You know, there's probably is some sort of relationship when it comes to the environment and genetics, but coming from what I know is that my brother is pretty clearly not bipolar. He has never had a reaction to antidepressants, but me, I had a reaction. We're identical twins, so imagine that. One has bipolar, the other one doesn't. So the fact that there might be some relationship with genetics, I still feel like maybe downright it's just kind of the lottery that was given to me, that this is what I have, I got to own up to it. It doesn't matter whether you have it or whether you don't. It doesn't matter with whether my parents have it or not. You just got to kind of learn to embrace it and live with what you have and try to live the most productive life as possible.
You wouldn't say that you struggle with it as much anymore, so that's why it's kind of more like you can't even label it, I feel like, as much anymore. I don't know if you think about it as often. Is that true? Or?
I don't think about it often a lot, just because primarily okay. I'm in a better situation now where I feel like I don't need to rely on these negative emotions to get by. I'm having pretty good positive emotions. I'm able to pretty much live as productive as I can or want to be, much better than in the past.
Is there any other questions you have, Lily, or is that good?
I don't know, do you have any questions regarding the whole experience on our family situation, or
do you see us any different once you saw our reunion at all? Or
No. Let's bring it back to current date. How about that?
Do you feel like the audience who are watching this and will watch this video, you think they're going to get better clarification than the previous video?
Yeah,
since you're in here?
absolutely.
I think so, hopefully.
Because of the commentary.
Absolutely.
So I just want to appreciate Lily being here. It is so grateful she decided to take the discipline to learn the language. I don't think I have it in me. She says she's C+, but for me it's A+, since I'm like an F-. So I just want to let you guys know I'm very grateful for that she's here participating in this video. This video is, how long have we been going on this session?
It's over at 2 hours.
It's going to be a long video.
No.
Yours turned off.
Hour 34.
Oh, hour and 34.
Bad.
Oh, good.
That's pretty good.
So I'm glad it's not too long. I don't want to make it too long because it'll take too long to cut. But anyway, this was a really great experience. I hope we can answer a lot of your guys' questions. This is like our most popular video. What did I say? 26,000 views, which is amazing. But I also wanted to showcase some other adoptees, not just our story, because in the end, we kind of had like the poster boy story of what anything could go almost perfectly. I mean, twins reuniting with their birth family along with their adoptive parents that supported it, which we're truly blessed, truly grateful. But because of that experience, just because I had a good experience, it made me think about a lot of those adoptees that didn't. And because of that, I wanted to connect with more people, how they're finding ways to cope. How do they find wholeness without not being able to meet their birth family? I know they had their struggles, and I know it's possible. Although there's a lot of adoptees that we interviewed that had huge trauma, which is unfortunate, a lot of them somehow found a way to overcome it. And that's the thing that drives me. And it's not just sharing the pain, it's more the fact that, wow, these guys found an actual way to kind of move on from their adoption, live happy, healthy relationships and lives. And it's just amazing to me. And I really want to showcase a lot of those people that kind of came out on the other end stronger and happier and healthier. Is there anything you want to mention about the CAD community?
No, I think you pretty much answered it.
How about you, Lily? Is there anything you want to address?
Yeah, well, I think that we're doing it great as a community. I feel like there's synergy and there's another wave coming forth as just the collective community keeps evolving our identity and owning it together and just collaborating and supporting each other. That's why I'm here right now. We're all going to go and support Adoptee Hub and just keep learning together and growing.
Hey, we really do gotta give Lily a big thanks because seriously, she known us like less than a year or year and a half, but she actually reached out to us, and it's amazing. She came from Texas, and we asked if she could assist us with doing this. So we really appreciate our friendship. We got to know each other like today, basically even more deeper, which was just great because now we know where we're all coming from. It's just amazing. So I'm really glad that we could share this wonderful experience with Lily, and we really appreciate your friendship.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. You guys take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Dual beats. You can push me away, 'cause I can only say that our love is a one-way street sign says I'm here to stay. No matter what they say, on any day, you and I are no mistake. Since our love is great, I still state we have crossed the golden gate. So please take me and set my heart so free. So please wake me to see all that's been seen. So please shake me, 'cause I'm on my knees. So please kiss me, 'cause I love you dearly. You are in my arms, you will do me no harm when storms arise. Through thick and thin, from limb to limb, we will journey it together. Dream with me, all these dreams be with me for eternity. I sentence you to all my life. The period ends with this inside. So please
멜리사.
We can show you a sign or signature.
That's really crappy of my signature.
우와. 여기도 사인 한다고. 여기도 사인.
It's on the wall. Not a lot that you get to color on the walls.
Everyone should sign.
Yeah, everyone should.
아 여기 3명 이렇게 찍어주면 좋을 것
세
같아요.
명.
이거 3명.
이쪽에 사진.
Oh, are you doing the Korean stuff?
어디 세 명도 다 쓰래. 같이.
I don't know how you know that, man.
빨간색으로 썼대.
맞아. 빨간색 입으면 안 되는데.
you're the only one that is left. So please take me and set my heart so free. So please wake me to see all that's been seen. So please shake me, 'cause I'm on my knees. So please kiss me,